Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Hockenheim's major changes to the circuit contrast greatly with this week's venue. Mosport is notorious for being one of the few tracks built in the middle of the 20th century that hasn't seen a change in its layout throughout its history. The fearsome and fast corners throughout the lap challenge nearly every vehicle that tries to tackle it. Will our drivers be able to master it today? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 5 of the PRL Open Wheel Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Gary Sexton, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. To understand a bit more about Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, let's head to our track guide. Welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, or as most fans know it, Mosport. This circuit to the northeast of Toronto is a rarity in the world of racing today. Safety standards and the desire for more overtaking opportunities has caused most tracks to alter their layouts over the years. But Mosport is still exactly the same footprint as it was when it was built in 1961. A mere 11 turns, most of which are high-speed sweepers, are dispersed among 2.5 miles, or just shy of 4 kilometers. The only alterations to the turns have been to the runoff areas, but otherwise the radii, camber, and elevation changes are all untouched. Because cars have continued to get faster through the passage of time, it's made this place a fearsome beast to tackle. Clayton Corner is particularly notorious. The blind crest and steep plunge combined with incredibly high speeds to create a punishing combination. Without many heavy braking zones, passing is often difficult. And other than using the slipstream up the Mario Andretti straight, the only other option is usually Moss Corner. This double apex hairpin is named after Sir Stirling Moss for his suggestion to redesign it after he saw its initial layout. While the plateau-like middle portion and critical exit onto the backstretch certainly give it plenty of character, the heavy compression at the bottom of the hill that causes a frighteningly short braking zone makes this one not for the faint of heart. Formula One, USAC, and IMSA have all taken their turns here, but recently NASCAR has joined the fray by holding a round for the Truck Series. Old school fans can rejoice for the enduring popularity of this bastion of untouched tarmac, but any motorsports enthusiast can't help but smile at the thrill Mosport continues to provide. Well, DJ, I was talking about how fearsome these corners can be, and considering we're here in the F3 cars, I have to imagine it's going to be pretty frightening. And looks like we may have had a problem with DJ's audio, but as we take a look at this track, and you can just see some of the stats about this place, that there is very few slow corners. About Moss and White's corner is all we've got there for the drivers to really slow down for. Clayton, extremely blind, notorious for the drivers sometimes going off and then having no recourse but find themselves sliding into the wall. Quebec also a relatively fast turn, but not nearly as blind. And then there's the Mario Andretti straight, where of course they're going to be slipstreaming quite a bit. We're expecting that to provide most of the passing opportunities coming up to the S's, which unfortunately doesn't really require braking to go into it. So that'll make for some scary moments for the drivers if they go through there side by side, trying to decide who is the bravest to try and get that overtake done. But before we get to the racing today, we want to remind you that our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it for free now at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL Open Wheel Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. As we take a look now at the championship, Fournier and Clenard only split by a single point, but unfortunately, Rod Clenard does not appear to be here today. He showed up briefly for practice, but has since been absent for quite a while now, so we're not expecting him to return. Fournier is around and setting some good laps here in qualifying, which is something we definitely will need to talk about in a moment. Byron Daly, however, is also looking quick today. Could he close down that 17-point gap to our leader, Holland? And Day rounding out your top five, with Holland also strangely not present here. Let's go to the AM Championship as well.
Well, in that AM Championship, Joe, it's pretty tight across the board. Johnny Luna leading by a single point over Tyler Scarali, with Brett Barrett looking in there 3 points back, and Takeshi Kita 5 points back from them. Christopher Richards is in fifth with 10 points, and really all the way down, we don't get to a 20-point gap until we get to about 10th place.
Now, that AM Championship is looking like it might come down to the wire, and there have been multiple drivers that have jumped up to the front of that. In the meantime, the Teams Championship is being led by Delta Sport currently, with NinjaTrader Esports tied in second with Britannia iSports. Then from there, you've got Viking Hot Rods Racing and Atomic Racing separated by about 6 markers. So that one also very, very tight, but it is Delta Sport continuing to be the breakaway. They're going to lose a little bit of points since both their drivers, well, they aren't here today. So this is a good opportunity for Ninja Trader and Britannia to close that gap. What about today's race details, DJ?
Well, as always, Joe, we're running a lapped race out here, and that's 38 laps today. It's round 5 of 10, and open setups for these cars, and that is where the tuning is going to come into play, and the teams, depending on how they're able to get the car going. There are penalty points out here today. You get a drive-through at 13 and completely disqualified at 17. There are also some bonus points available, and those are for pole, fastest lap, and 3 incidents or less. And with just as close as we've seen this championship running, I've got to think that those are going to be very, very hot items here today.
Indeed. Well, Michael Coffray currently has that provisional pole. Byron Daly less than half a tenth behind him. Up until just a few minutes ago, actually, it was 0.2 of a second from first to ninth here, but that has since spread apart because Michael Coffray and Byron Daly have found something extra, and so has Raymond Day as he gets down to within a tenth of Michael Coffray and just arrives in third on the grid.
Yes, he does. So qualifying getting very, very intense indeed. As you said, just a very tight battle across the field right now as they all try to get this going. Following Coffray there down through the corner before the infamous Moss hairpin. You've got to be careful. These Formula 3 cars are low to the ground, and you can pick up some under tray damage if you're not careful driving through there.
A couple other cars that are trying to challenge Michael have jumped into the pits. Raymond Day and Byron Daly have both restarted their laps. It looks like Alex Fournier had a bit of a spin as well. I think we may have gone by him as we were watching the number 14 who we ride on board with, and we come back around to one of our drivers just exiting pit lane. This is Raymond Day and the 77 getting a warm-up lap going. And he's got about 6 minutes left, with it being just over a minute. That's still plenty of time to try and find something to knock down that 0.124 for that pole position. But I'm starting to wonder if some of those are due to some slipstreams around here, if you need a friend to really be fast.
Yeah, it certainly helps going down the long Mario Andretti straightaway, but you've got to be able to time it out just right, Joe. If you're stuck behind somebody in this first and kind of second sector there, this sweeping back and forth through Clayton and Quebec, you get a lot of aero wash. The car just wants to absolutely understeer away from you, and so you do not want to be following behind somebody there in those moments.
Byron Daly down into the hairpin. This is a flyer for him now, I believe. And out of Moss, a little bit of corrections you could see as the hands were sawing away, but so far so good. I can report that Raymond Day now starting his next flyer as well. Here we go on board with the 06. He's chasing the slipstream of Michael Broomhead up ahead. That might give him just a tiny bit of speed, but I don't think it'll be all that much. And then into 8 and 9, the S's, which winds up dropping you into White's corner. And off of that one, oh, he was not close to the apex at all. Is this going to be fast? No, a 1:11.3 is well off of his best.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy with that, so he's going to have to keep pushing on here. We continue to watch Raymond Day as they go around right now.
Yep, Raymond Day up the hill here. Going to follow about half a lap behind from Byron Daly. He's only 0.08 off of Byron as well. I just saw Byron escape to pit lane on my timing screen, so he's going to have to restart once again. And the Ninja Trader Esports Pro driver out of Whites, that looked a lot more tucked in down to that inside curb. The 77 crosses the line, but still not quick enough at the 1:11.7.
Seeing a lot of drivers here falling off in speed, and track temperature is only about 79 degrees, so I'm a little bit surprised by that. I'd think that they'd get a little bit faster as time went along, but they are certainly not having that way go here.
Just watching to see if Takeshi Kita went any faster. He's actually up in 8th right now. Not a bad qualifying for him, frankly. And he's honestly the only one that has a win in the AM category so far this season, inside the top 5 in points. So everybody else will be watching for him as we come down to 6th place, Julio Palacio, another one of our pro drivers. Last lap for him did not count, so I think this is his first flyer. The SRT eSport driver up the Andretti straight. Another one that's within about 800ths of the next car up. The time's so tight with so little areas around here where you have to seriously apply the brakes.
Yeah, very tricky. It's not a big braking heavy track, and Joe, that's why it's hard as all can be to get past around here. It's a lot of brush braking. It's a lot of differences like that.
No time that time through. Nick Horvath going to be the next one across the line. He also doesn't find anything. 2.5 minutes left, so it's coming down to it. If you're not out on the track, you better get out there soon. Get those tires warmed up. Looking to see anybody coming across the line going green here. And interestingly, we don't have Michael Coffray out on track, but Byron Daly is. And I believe we are on board with him right now. So this is a good opportunity for the 06 to manage to get ahead of Michael and not allow him a chance to respond.
Yeah, he's certainly going to want to try to do that as they work their way around here. Daly able to bump his way up a little bit more. Coffray, though, still in the pits, so a little bit disconcerting there for him. He's not going to be able to get too many hot laps out here now.
Verdi's also in pit lane, I'm seeing. Juan Coffray and Takeshi Kita are in there, which means the day just about over for them. They could try and come out and get one flyer, but I'm not sure they'll be able to get the tires into the working range they would want. Byron Daly up and over the crest. Ooh, I just realized Verdi has now got within 0.05 of a second, but again, he's in pit lane, so unless he takes off right this second, he's not going to be able to get any closer than those 0.05. Here we go. The 06 out of the final corner across the timing line. Still a 1:11.4. One last shot at it this lap.
Yeah, just trying to get a little bit closer. He does have the 29 there ahead of him. That's Johnny Luna, one of the AM drivers who's currently leading the championship. Johnny all the way down into... there goes Byron Daly. That's what I talked about there, Joe. That aero wash specifically coming over the crest of Clayton. The car lightens up as it goes over the hill, and it becomes all the more aero dependent. And Raymond there just falling victim to a little bit of aero push.
Yep, and that's going to be the last lap for him. Ooh, Nicholas Johnston, a 10.5. That'll put him up into 4th, which was much needed for the pro driver. He was languishing down in the middle of the pack, and looks like Robert Ridgway went up to 7th as well. 20 seconds left. Who is able to start this last one?
Well, it looks like the 19th place Joey Tebben is going to be able to cross the line to get it going. Oh, Nicholas Johnson there having a spin coming out of Quebec. It's not going to do well for him. He's not going to get anything. And another one, that's Alex Fournier, just spinning in sympathy.
And it looks like first one to take the checkered flag is Byron Daly, but it does not count, unfortunately. He is done, and he is going to have to start in second, but that's still a front row for him. Christopher Richards coming to the line right now in the 49 car. He sits in 17th. He's got to make up only 0.03 of a second to at least get one position. He goes by the checkered flag, but it's not enough. He doesn't improve.
Next up on the list is going to be the 7th place Robert Ridgway. There you can see him trying to get the best time that he can as he comes out, kicks up a little bit of dirt on the exit. He is not going to be able to go faster. Now waiting on the 29th place machine of Adam McDonald.
Looks like he's headed into the pit lane, and Joey Tebben going to be the next one. Still sitting in 19th. The 1:11.1, his quickest. And even though he's 19th, he's only 0.6 off of the pole. That is how tight it is through the fields. No improvement for him. Looks like end of the session, just not seeing much gains on the track. I think Colin Heffernan will be our last and final driver able to set a time, and he is going to take it around the last corner, not coming into pit lane, so he feels confident enough to at least try and finish it. And no, he unfortunately had taken his last lap the last time around, so that one did not count for him. Our grid is now set here at Mosport for round 5 in the PRL Open Wheel Series. And up at the top of it, Michael Coffray manages to take that bonus point for pole with Byron Daly starting in second behind him, and Stephen Verity will be in P3. It's Nicholas Johnston starting fourth, followed by Raymond Day in P5, as Alex Fournier starts in sixth. And then our first AM, the pole for that AM class, is Robert Ridgway in seventh. You've got Julio Palacio P8, Juan Cofre ninth, and Takeshi Kita starting in 10th.
Tyler Scarali will be starting off in 11th, followed by Michael Broomhead and Manuel Vargas. Next to him will be Roberto Cofre, followed by Nick Horvath and Matthew Gunderson in row 8. Christopher Richards will line up in 17th, followed by Owen McLaughlin, with Joey Tebben in 19th and Sean Duhamel rounding out your top 20.
Stephen Ritter starts 21st, followed by Colin Heffernan. Then on the inside of the next row, it's Tyler Gore. Kenny Brown starts P24, and 25th is Johnny Luna. James Holland starts 26th. James Carter starts 27th, and then it's Jonathan Almanar to the outside. Anna McDonald's only good enough for 29th today, with Donald Olson in 30th. And then the last three to set times were Barrett, Barnett, and Bear. Rod Clenard is still not in the session, so we will get 33 starters as they getting ready to grid up and have mostly gridded up. 78 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface here in Canada, so pretty good track temperatures for our drivers, and almost have everybody already out there. We can sometimes see problems into Clayton Corner here on these first laps, so who is going to be looking out, especially over that blind crest, being wary of those yellow flags if they do pop up, trying not to get involved in somebody else's mess. I think we're just waiting on about 5 more cars, and they've got about 20 seconds to do so. Wonder if we'll see any start from pit lane here, because I am seeing some empty gaps still showing out in the field, and they go all the way around White's Corner for that start. So a few drivers going to have to be cranking the wheel as they try to get the power down. Yeah, a couple seconds left, so this is it. We get some starters from pit lane as the engines now start to rev and the lights come up, and I think that was a false start from our pole sitter. Green flag is out. Is that going to be a penalty for Michael Cofre? It's a poor start for Byron Daly. Here comes Verity up the inside, immediately taking second away. Johnston starting to fall back around the first corner as Day manages to get past him. Now it's into Clayton. Are we going to survive this left-hander?
It's looking like everybody's relatively okay back through the field, Joe, and indeed they are. Still some double wide action there going on in the back. They now make their way through Quebec. It continues to be Cofre leading from Verity, but Byron Daly on the assault here on Stephen Verity.
And in fact, they're not far behind Michael Cofre as well, as they come up into Moss for the first time in anger. A lot of 2x2 in the very back of the pack, but otherwise the front was single file. And look at them weaving down the Andretti straight. Cofre trying to break the slipstream, but Verity is close enough that he's already side by side. It's going to be our first example of wheel to wheel through turn 8.
Indeed it is. We were talking about this before on the broadcast of how you can do it, and that's going to be Verity to the outside, but it'll switch back through the S's. Oh, and there goes Cofre off!
Oh, we saw this in the Lotus 79 series. Another driver, Millward, had the same problem, losing grip on that outside line, and our pole sitter, doesn't matter if he jumped the start because he is done for the day.
Is indeed. We go back to check out this replay here. Yep, just brought too much speed into the corner. I think he probably jerked the steering wheel to the left just a little bit too hard, and those rear tires lost grip and sent him right off into that tire barrier.
Don't need to go to it. We had an off in turn 1. Tyler Gore too hot into the corner, smashed the tire barrier. He's also immediately done. We're watching the replay from on board. Wow, that broke loose very early.
Well, Joe, I think that's a little bit to do with the fact of what I mentioned before. 78-degree track temperature right now. That is a bit chilly out there, and it'll take a couple of laps for these cars to get fully up to temperature with their tires. Some good 2 wides there coming off the exit of Moss, it looks like.
Indeed, that's farther down in the pack, but up at the front of it, Verity now leads. Daly promoted up into second, and they're breaking away from Raymond Day, who is in third. Looks like Juan Cofre managed to get by Takeshi Kita for the 8th position. So certainly seeing some swapping around here in the early stages, which I'm guessing could wind up being critical if it proves hard to pass later on. Here we jump back, I believe, to the battle between Palacio and Ridgeway.
Yeah, we do indeed. These guys have been at it a little bit more. Palacio just trying to find something. A little bit of a narrower line there coming on the exit of Clayton. Now, that's technically a faster way through the corner, but you will lose a little bit of momentum. There he comes out of Quebec, that setting Canadian sun, getting in his eyes a little bit. Let's stay on board here. Watch the braking zone through Moss. This is always so difficult. Able to get it just right. No lockups on either front tires. That's a good sign for Palacio.
Absolutely. And they've still got a bit of a train here along the Andretti Straight. Fournier kind of at the front of that one in 5th position. He's lost touch with Nicholas Johnston up in front, and he's given a big tow to Robert Ridgeway, but he runs out of straightaway and isn't able to go side by side like what you saw on the first lap.
No, he is not, but this looks like it could be a little bit of a good battle here for the AM category. That is Takeshi Kita up ahead. Michael Broomhead chasing him down.
Yeah, this is for 3rd in that AM class, but 9th overall. Leading the AM class is Robert Ridgeway currently, and then Juan Cofre just ahead, P2 in that AM class. Seeing a lot of cars down into pit lane. This is way too early for pit stops, so I'm going to take a wild guess that we've had some drivers getting damage.
Yeah, I think that's about right, Joe. Drivers coming on in, getting some work done on the machine. We look out the back here of Takeshi Kita. He tries to hold off Michael Broomhead to the best of his abilities. Working on it. Oh, that's a car off in the back. I believe that's Scarali.
Oh, and he was in about 12th place and now is going to continue to plummet well out of the top 20, unfortunately, in that number 20 car. Let's take a look at this. This is a frequent occurrence here in Moss. Cars just finding themselves off course and a little bit of graze with the wall. That might hurt his steering if he damaged the suspension.
Yeah, it might. These suspensions known for not exactly being the best and most sturdy out there, so we'll have to see.
As we come back live, I can report that Verity, Daly, and Day are pretty much all hooked together for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Oh, we got a big wreck out of White's corner. Trying to figure out, was that Joey Tebbin? Yeah, I see Joey Tebbin and Donald Olson off the track there. Who does this start with?
All right,
Ooh,
so
I think it starts with Tebbin.
Yeah, there it is. The 60 machine. Almost together there. Able to make it work around the outside, so they come back here into White.
Just lost the car. Was he trying to get back started here? He was, and he wasn't totally clear. Oh. And, well, that could have been a lot more cars involved. I'm glad it was only one, but one is still too many, unfortunately. And it's going to be another bad finish for Joey Tebbin along with Donald Olson. Meanwhile, my goodness, look at our leaders. Still split by half a second between all 3 of them.
Yeah, this battle is certainly not going away. Daly leading from Verity, leading from Day. Ooh, that looks like Stephen Verity starting to get a little bit squirrely out there, almost coming onto the grass before he goes down into Quebec. But that allows for Day to catch up a little bit. He's going to have to be a very brave boy if he wants to get a pass done into Moss. Thinks about it going down that plunging left-hander. I doubt he's going to go for the full move, but he is going to send that car a little bit wider, try to carry some more speed. But he's off the apex just enough that I think that's going to keep any attack at bay.
But Verity looked pretty strong. Daly knows that he's already trying to weave across the track. Will Verity try and go around the outside? Yes, he will. Pokes his nose out, wheel to wheel, coming up to turn 8, and he's almost fully ahead. Does he chop down? No, he's going to decide to give just a little bit of space to Byron Daly, and that's job done. The 04 is your new leader.
Good move there from Stephen Verity, able to get himself back up front. It's been a while since we've seen Rust Racing at the top of this field. A couple of seasons ago, remember, this series was absolutely dominated by Verity's teammate Greg Seitz. But, oh, Byron Daly not giving up the ghost quite yet. He is very close behind that 0-4.
So here begs the question, with how much we've seen the tow helping along that backstretch, does anybody start to try and get tricky and save some fuel?
It certainly can't hurt, Joe, but I would be worried about these tires wearing off a little bit and the ability to hold grip around the S's in particular.
Oh, we had it off behind them. That's Johnston. And, he's going to get hit. He got T-boned. He was almost clear. It was Juan Cofre, unfortunately, the driver that fell victim. And Nick Johnston, I think you're just going to see go wide into the corner, and then it just kind of snowballed for him and after that.
Yeah, and that's so easy to do coming up through Moss like that. Yeah, a little bit of a brake lock up there. Comes across the track, holds the brakes, then dives down in. And Cofre just really nowhere to go there.
And he was trying to get out of the racing line, but wasn't enough time to really do it. We're going to give one more look at it from Cofre's perspective. Oh, yeah. I can see why Cofre wound up hitting him, because it looked like he maybe could have had a gap on the inside just barely.
Yeah, and Cofre just wanted to kind of get down there as quick as possible, but obviously that door closed very quickly. Focusing back up on the battle for the lead, now we've got a little bit of a fun entering into this. James Carter up ahead by about 0.7 of a second. They'll catch him here on the straight, but that's going to help out Byron Daly, as he'll be able to pull a little bit of a draft. There's Daly getting up and out of the way right now, so there they go on through it.
Let's give it another tow to Verity once again. Is Steven going to get the lead once more? He's going to look around the outside. Daly fends him off. This time, not enough grip for the 04. So the 06 will retain the spot. Day just sitting behind watching. And he seems like the most likely to be attempting to save some fuel. In fact, Day just set his fastest lap of the race at a 1:10.965. That's still about 0.2 off of Daly and Verity, however.
Indeed, but look at that line that Verity had coming down through Clayton, really putting some speed on in that chrome machine. He's losing a little bit of touch here with Raymond Day behind him, but I think Day's pretty happy to stay where he is. Remember, I'm thinking back to what you were just talking about, Joe, and fuel saving. That may be a little bit of what Raymond Day is hoping for.
Not many battles behind them. I have to say, I went looking through the field to see if there's anybody else tight. And no, this is one of our best bits of action on the track right now. Still not even a quarter of the way through this race. Actually, just getting into the quarter of the way through this race now. And a huge run from Verity, much bigger than last time. Manages to get alongside, but just like last time, he starts to fall away.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little timid to fully want to chuck it in there. I think what he may be trying to do is just get Daly off onto a suboptimal line. Oh, but a little poke from behind there from Raymond Day. That aggressive driving from Stephen Verity paying off with bad dividends. There is the Ninja Trader teammate there of Byron Daly starting to make some moves.
Down into Quebec once again. All split by 0.8 of a second, and they have left Alex Fournier behind by 2 seconds currently. And that Pro Drivers Championship, this is probably not exactly what Fournier wants, considering Daly is currently 3rd in the championship. Now, obviously, Clenard and Holland not being here, he's not hurt as badly as he would have been if those two were up ahead of him. And we come back now to the battle for 12th. Watching Horvath trying to chase down Heffernan. They've also got Stephen Ritters and Matthew Gunderson making it a quartet.
Yeah, they do. So they're going to have to be a little bit careful not to get too spicy with this action. If they do, everything could kind of explode on them. We look out the back right now of Horvath's machine, and then jumping up here, that is Heffernan in front of him.
Just realized that they have the Britannia team, and Horvath with the Canada team, or Canadiania team. It was, I got a glimpse of it, and it was definitely a play on the sister team. Meanwhile, Nick, we're going to watch him from above, and even from the chopper view, you can see how much this track dips away into Clayton.
Yeah, Joe, really and truly, it is a massive, massive downhill and immediate uphill section there. So the big drop through Clayton and then that big drop going down into Moss really requires you to just know how to take this car and take it right. You cannot abuse the car around here. You've got to try to run the optimal line really through those first two sectors. If you get offline through there, you are risking some damage to the car just because of the very nature of this track.
Down the back stretch still, they continue. Horvath just behind Colin Heffernan, but also just ahead of Steven Ritters. Nobody really close enough to be able to reach out and try and grab the next car up. So we jump up to Broomhead instead here. And excuse me, this is Coffray, Roberto Coffray and Christopher Richards. Christopher Richards not having too bad of a day. He's up from 17th to 10th currently. So even if he stays stuck here, you can count this one as a decent finish.
Yeah, indeed he can. He's doing a good job to apply some pressure here. Again, only 12 laps into this race, so he's got plenty of time to just try to work his way forward. Looking right now at the speed differential, does look like that Richards has got a little bit more speed. Didn't get the run he wanted to, though, out of Moss. I think that car ran a little bit wide. Whoa, we're side by side for the lead.
Palacio and Kita as they come up through turn 8. Looks like Palacio is going to have the inside this time. Oh, excuse me. I was looking at my timing and scoring wrong. It's Stephen Verity and Byron Daly in the battle, but it's Verity who comes out the victor on that one. And Daly drops back now. Lap 13 into this one. We're looking for lap 19 at our halfway mark. And will anybody dare try and jump somebody having difficulties overtaking here today and pit early?
It's a distinct possibility, Joe, and I think for some of the drivers farther back in the field, it's a good idea. But for these leaders, I got to think you're going to want to stretch as far as you can. When these guys come in, they will likely find themselves in traffic. And as we talked about, that's great when you pick up the draft going down this Mario Andretti straightaway. But for the first part of this lap, you do not want to be running in slower, dirty air, as it will really throw off the balance of the car.
Okay, Daly's the chaser this time. He's closing the gap, and he's going to try and look to the inside, but Verity shuts the door down into the S's. Not going to be an opportunity for Byron that time through. Day just making sure he stays in those mirrors. He's the third car you see in line in that 77. Down through turn 1. Back into Clayton once again. They've been holding it steady. Do they have any more lap traffic coming up, I wonder? No, it doesn't look like it. Sean Duhamel's a ways ahead of them. And partly, I think, because we've lost so many cars. Michael Coffray, Joey Tebben, Nick Johnston are officially DNF'd, but we've had Tyler Gore, Adam McDonald, Donald Olson, Juan Coffray, and Owen McLaughlin also sitting in pit lane taking repairs for a long time, and make that Owen McLaughlin back out on track because he's just exited his pit stall.
Looks like he was stationary there in the box there for quite a number of minutes for Owen. So he's obviously going to be running at the back of the field 3 laps down, but just wants to get out there and get as many laps as he can under his belt. I believe they've got to score 75%. Oh, here we go. The little bit of a look there for Byron Daly going down to the inside of the S's. Not going to be able to get it done, and Verity will still hold on to the lead. Car twitchy a little bit there for Verity coming into whites, but he's able to contain it and keep going.
Not sure how serious everybody is about trying to make these passes. If this is a go for it every single time or wait for a better opportunity sort of situation for the drivers. Because a few times they've either backed out or, whoa, and that looks like a serious one from Daly, who tried to get to the inside of Quebec, couldn't shake Verity off of the racing line, had to back out. That is a rare one to see passes successfully made into that third corner.
Yeah, it is indeed, Joe. It's a very, very fast corner. You're talking about maybe just a little bit of brush braking, if anything, going in there. So the car's not really slowing down enough to be able to get a good move done. But speaking of a good move, Byron Daly looking very, very nice here, closing in on the draft of Stephen Verity. He is going to poke his nose to the outside. We've seen this move done a couple of times. What's he going to get?
Not the lead, unfortunately. So Daly lifts once again just a little bit. Now coming to start lap 16 for our drivers. We did have a change for fifth as Julio Palacio outgunned Ridgway down the straight. So top 5 for that pro driver. Ridgway still our highest AM, but that pass means he's now front to back with his other AM teammate, Takeshi Kita.
Yes, it is indeed. So there you can see that run, and Kita still trying to close down on Robert Ridgway a little bit as he continues to go along. So we'll have to see if there's maybe a little bit of team tactics that go in here if Takita's a little bit faster.
Looks like he's dropping away now that that pass has been made. As we come back up to the top spots off of the Moss hairpin and back up the long Mario Andretti straight, which, as you can see, is not entirely straight. Kind of weaves its way back and forth up the hill. Ooh, and this is a pretty decent run from Raymond Day. He started to close in, but I think he lifted there. That, to me, looked like that car was not full power by the end of the straight.
I think you're right, Joe. I just went back and listened to that on replay. He did indeed lift. Now, I don't know if that is he just didn't think he had the move and didn't want to lose position back to Alex Fournier, or if that is a full fuel-saving attempt there from Raymond Day. We will find out relatively soon, though, as I would expect pit stops within about the next 10 laps.
Indeed, and apologies to the mid-pack. I keep trying to find something in there for a good fight, but nothing has been as close as these three for much of this race. Past the Continental Tire Bridge, flat out through 4, and then getting on the binders into the compression in a Moss corner. Everybody trying to line up the exit, and Daly does it best. In fact, I don't think he even needs the slipstream. He's just got a better launch here.
Yeah, really and truly does. There he goes. He's going to pull to the outside right now. That'll be the long way around the first part of the S's, but if he can make that hold, he'll be able to get a better line. Here he comes, trying to hold it, almost coming together there with Verity, but Verity holds onto the line, and that's day done there in terms of that overtake.
Just looking a lot more difficult than I expected with that slipstream. Some drivers just unable to execute, and I think we had a problem with Kenny Brown. Ooh, he spun off in Moss, and I think he had a little bit of contact with the wall on top of it. You can see him back on the circuit now.
I can also report that Roberto Cofre had a problem coming out of White's. Oh, Kenny, though, they're falling victim to the perils of Moss. Just carried a little bit too much speed there up through the first part of it, and the car does not want to slow down, and that is just an object in motion wanting to stay at motion and pushing its way up to the outside.
Now, Roberto Cofres is a bizarre one because he spun around, and then he tried to get the car to do a slide turn back forward, and he got his damage from plowing into the wall, judging it wrong. So the 10 having a bit of an embarrassing time here. Here we go. This is the initial incident you're going to see out of White's.
All right, so here he goes, lines it up, and that car wanting to break away mid-corner. There he goes, keeps it off the wall. Now, this is what we were talking about. Waiting for everybody to come around here. He's got the time, goes to try to drop the clutch, and just into the wall.
Oof. Remember seeing a clip from, I think it was the early 90s of a driver at Monaco trying to get the car spun turn around as things are close here for the front. And Byron Daly is trying to threaten Verity. He's going to have the inside into Moss corner. They're going to go wheel to wheel into there, and it's going to be Byron Daly who takes the lead.
Oh, you are not supposed to be able to pass down there into Moss, but Byron Daly proving all of us wrong there, Joe.
Whew, good stuff. That took some real bravery, but it might not pay off because Daly's giving a nice slipstream to Verity, and he's got huge speed down the backstretch coming into the corner. He tries to hold on. Things get a little bit more tense here. Oh, and some ghost contact is going to send Daly off into the barriers. And for the second time today, turn 9 claims a car.
Oh, that is absolutely heartbreaking there for him. Let's watch this play out again. Verity getting a very, very good run here. He's going to poke his nose to the outside. Remember, that'll switch back to the inside once they come through the S's. Here they go around, keeping it nice and tight through there. And then, oh, yeah, some pretty heavy ghost contact there. That's a real, real shame.
Sad to see what was such a good close fight wind up coming down to that. And wow, man, big hit. There are just no small accidents in that corner. And the incident I was talking about a little bit earlier, it was Schiatorelli in one of the SimTech cars who couldn't get himself spun turn around in Monaco. that if you go look up on YouTube, it's a rather amusing clip of him just having trouble at least getting the car going. Meanwhile, Verity now leads, and, well, did we lose both cars, actually? Because where did...
Day came into the pits, Joe. He decided to duck on in there pretty early, so clearly going for an undercut strategy here today.
Oof. Okay, then. That puts him down the order, and we are past the halfway mark, but... yeah, that's a gutsy strategy for the 77. And, oh, cars in front of him actually pitting in now. So it is kind of working out for Raymond Day because that'll be more clear air in front of him. That is one lucky call.
Yeah, it very much is. And remember, he will probably lose about a 10th or so a lap, not having the draft going down the Mario Andretti straightaway where our leader, Stephen Verity, is right now. But he will be able to run in clean air and just put down some good hot laps as Verity continues to go around here. And one thing to note, with the cooler track temperatures, I don't anticipate anybody taking tires out here today. I think this is going to be a fuel-only stop.
Got a battle brewing in the middle of the pack here. 9th place, Colin Heffernan has Horvath still right behind him. We were watching them fight a little bit earlier. They almost went side by side into Moss coming into the braking, but Horvath with a bad exit has fallen back. The slipstream helping him regain some of that lost time. See if either of them elects to pit this time through. Well, there you go. Horvath does.
Yeah, and ahead of him, Takeshi Kita doing the same thing. So definitely entering into the pit stop cycle here. Drivers just opting when they want to take their chance. Focusing in here as they continue to go around. Other drivers just waiting it out.
Yeah, this has spread apart a lot of our battles, unfortunately. And with half of the field having pit, we don't have a completely accurate reading on who needs to be where. Otherwise, I'd try and give some love to some of our hard chargers. Granted, Ritters and Heffernan are up, let's see, it looks like almost 11 or 12 positions there, each of them.
Yeah, they are. Ooh, we've got a real big thing going on for 14th right now. Almanar, Horvath, and Kenny Brown. This was Horvath that got dumped right out into the middle of this fight. All three-way here. We've seen this really start to go back and forth.
And the leaders are also in. Verity and Fournier have now pitted, but this did not work out for Horvath, who's stuck in the action he wanted to avoid. So where is Day in relation to Verity? That's the one that we want to keep half an eye on as this battle works its way up the backstretch. Verity's now exiting pit lane now, but he's coming out behind lap traffic, who thankfully is able to pull out of the way. That's not going to end the story, though, as here comes Verity, and Verity just, or excuse me, Day just slipped through as they came up to Clayton, and he is your leader.
Oh, some very close action on the exit of pit lane there. Some heads up from Raymond Day to just be able to slide that car through. I'm seeing a driver off in the back there. I believe that was a lapped car. But this battle for P1, it is still very much on.
That was incredible. Both Day and Verity had traffic that they were dealing with. McDonald's was the one that Day was going by, and then David A. Bear was trying to pull off to the side to be polite to Verity. Credit to both of them, because I don't think they interrupted it too badly. Oh, and Colin Heffernan finally had a problem. He is off the track out of turn 3, Quebec. You can see yet another car trying to have to do a 1,000-point turn just to get it going the right way.
Yeah, so this is coming down into Quebec. I wonder if he just got a little bit wide. All right, touch the curbing on the inside. Yep, just a little bit of touch of those left side tires onto the grass, and that'll send it around, especially at those high speeds. You still have a little bit of angle put into the steering wheel, and so just losing grip and letting go.
Looks like the last of our pitters finally in. Yep, Almanar is going to be the last one in the O2 car. So everybody has now been in and out, but my goodness, down into Moss Corner once again, finding lap traffic playing a factor here today. Having to weave around the outside of Barnett, who almost loses the car, accelerate on the grass from the Moss hairpin. He should be able to lift and let them through, and yeah, now he's doing so.
Oh, and there comes Verity. He saw his shot, and he went for it, going super wide to the outside through the right-hander of the S's. He's got to hold that line. He does. It looks like that is a slick and done and dusted move for the 0-4.
Happen to think that that lap traffic certainly didn't hurt Verity. Back up to the point now. Fournier is still watching behind them. You can even see him in some of those shots in the background. The 116 is about 2.5 seconds behind. So he just has to keep touch here, and what is now going to be the final 14 laps of this race.
Yeah, so he has just got to keep close behind. And the battle that we have been seeing between these two really and truly just never seems to go away. Big train here, though, in the back, led by Jonathan Almanar.
Indeed. Kenny Brown poking his nose out. Barrett and Holland going to go side by side. Brown has a little bit of a nose ahead coming into the corner, and Almanar knows it. He backs out. Same thing with Holland as Barrett grabs 16th.
All right, so again, that overtaking area, being able to go where it needs to down into the S's, that looks like the prime opportunity.
Oh, and the leaders almost went side by side. They did not in the end. Day's going to stay behind these four over the crest of Clayton, plunging down the hill. They got to be careful, though. If they follow too closely, if someone towards the front of the train has a slip-up, we've already seen it's pretty tough to avoid accidents here.
Yeah, it's a relatively narrow circuit around here, Joe, and it's a pretty one-lane groove. The only time you can really see that second groove starting to really work in is through the S's, but especially up through Moss, down and up and over Clayton. You cannot run the risk of going too wide, or that will just end in disaster for you. So if an accident happens, you have got to hope you can just thread the needle.
Just trying to figure out who that was stopped. That was Joey Tebbin, who seemed to have had more issues. Just been having a real miserable season, unfortunately. We come back to our leaders, the 04 and the 77, up the backstretch. Last time Day backed out of an attack. Will he do the same this time? Starting to reel him in. No need for fuel saving it at this stage, although I will point out that Day was a little quicker in the stop. He pokes his nose. He's going to try and go around the outside. That'll give him the inside into turn 9, but sending it deep. Verity shuts the door.
Good defense there from Stephen Verity, just knowing how to keep him locked down, but Day still aggressive, not wanting to back out yet. He's very close behind him in turn 1.
0.8 of a second faster in the pit stall for Raymond Day, but we saw him lifting and coasting for part of that first stint, which may have allowed him that shorter pit stop. And right now, what it's definitely allowing him is to hold on to the slipstream of that 04 car and have a shot at the victory.
Yes, it is not going to take a look into Moss, but he is going to go a little bit wider to just try to carry a little bit more speed. Good line there for Day off of the exit, but I think Verity got the better jump. We'll have to see if the draft is able to work in Raymond's here.
What's interesting to note as well, neither of these drivers have won so far this season. Alex Fournier back in third has, but he's not looking to challenge right now the same way that Day trying to challenge Verity. We saw this last time, and Verity was able to break deeper right there, and he does it again. Oh, but he looked for a switchback. Day, oh, and no! Offline, he spins himself.
Spins it. It doesn't look like there's any damage there to that 77 machine, but that is going to allow for Alex Fournier to get on through into second place. Let's watch this again, Joe. Oh, this is so hard to see for Raymond Day.
He tried to get a little tricky, and he was too clever for his own good, unfortunately. Yeah, I thought maybe he could scare him off there. And then the car was not on the line he was used to, and around she went. He almost lost out to Takeshi Kita trying to get started. Good thing everybody was a heads up, because he also kind of pulled across the racing line there. Kita, I thought he would be able to challenge Day here, but it looks like, as you can see, he's already distanced himself. That's Daniel Barnett in front of them, who just had some sort of issue through the hairpin. Going to give us some slipstream to the 77. That will also help him distance himself from the 64. Takeshi looking to earn his second AM win of the season if it stays how it is, ahead of his teammate Ridgway.
Yeah, and just looking at lap times there, I don't think Takeshi's really going to have an ability to catch Raymond Day. His fastest lap time is about 0.5 of a second slower than Raymond Day. So Day clearly has the pace here. Just got to pull away and keep calm.
Down to 10 laps to go now. Unfortunately, that robs us of our battle up for the lead. I think, have we officially lost a few more cars? Yes, we have. Looks like Manuel Vargas has called it a day. Byron Daly and Roberto Cofre are all out of this race, as they have taken them behind the wall and into the garage. Of our hard chargers here, one of the biggest is currently David Hebert from 33rd to 19th.
That is a heck of a run there for David Hebert. Massive kudos to him to be able to work his way up through the field there. You can see him on your screen right now.
14 position gain. And I think, if I'm seeing correctly, Daniel Barnett one-upped him. Trying to figure out the math on that. Yeah, 15 positions up for the 67 car as well. However, he's the first one a lap down. Kenny Brown in 15th is our last driver on the lead lap. There is Daniel Barnett coming to start another circuit around here.
And there is Kenny Brown doing the same thing as he dives his way down through the elevation change around here. And that is your leaver, Stephen Verity, about to pass Kenny to put him a lap down.
So what is this going to do for Verity in the points? I need to check here to see what the 04 sits at. He was down in 8th. He's had 2 DNFs already this season. And then what looks like a couple top 5s in there. 1 top 5, actually, in his finishing results. But he's looking at a potential win here today. 75 points behind Alex Fournier. Don't really think he's in the hunt for the victory halfway through the season now, but you never know. And this will give him a nice little boost up closer to the front, and also help out that Rust Racing team try and get back into the team's championship, as well as they, let's see, where were they even? They were down 14th in the points. My goodness, that is kind of difficult to look at.
Yeah, it is indeed. We focus here, though, on Michael Broomhead trying to chase down Robert Ridgway. Broomhead there, you may notice, in a little bit of an alternate livery than we're used to seeing the Britannia iSports MRM driver, putting on a little bit of Canadian plaid. This is the team's home race, so they wanted to put that on the car this week.
So watching from the number 5 here, sitting in 6th place, trying to get P5, and he's got an opportunity on Ridgway, who looked a little bit hesitant down the hill. Now he's got to really get the launch off of the hairpin. Here comes Broomhead with the slipstream, looking for a top 5, having started in 12th. Can he get this done?
Well, it looks like the Daniel Barnett ahead of him is going to be helping out his rival Robert Ridgway a little bit with a draft of his own. And yeah, you can see there Broomhead just stalling out a little bit, not able to fully get by. Oh, and now he catches the lap traffic through the S's. That is not the place you want to get it.
And Barnett just trying to stay out of the way of these two. He's not pulling over on the front stretch. Is he going to stay off to the outside? Yes, he is. There we go. Great stuff from the 67. And big thank you there from Broomhead over the radio to his fellow competitor. Once again, the dirty air slowing up Ridgway as he tries to put a lap on James Carter as well, allowing Broomhead to close in. And Kenny Brown going to do a bit of the same. Now down to 7 laps to go. And Broomhead gets it down to about 0.4 of a second.
Yes, he does. And again, this is all going to come down to that launch. Oh, missing the apex there a little bit was Michael Broomhead. I don't think he's going to get the power. They do have Scarali up ahead of them. So again, draft helping out Ridgway a little bit here.
Yeah, just starting to pull away. Wonder if we could hop on board with Verity here, DJ. He's been leading for a good chunk of this race now. He may have started in third, but he's looking fast. So why don't you walk us through?
All right, well, indeed, this is coming up over Clayton right here. You've got to just feather the throttle, a dab of the brakes a little bit, keep it in 6th as you go around, then here into Clayton. Pop it down into 4th gear, carry as much momentum as you can. Like I said, that's maybe a little bit of brush braking through there, and now you're flat out again. You want to be in the middle of the track and then keep it tight to the left here as you don't want to hit those landmines in the middle. As you come up over Moss, you have to apply the brakes slowly and surely and then let the car coast. That's the biggest key to getting it right. Now, you breathe. You're on the Mario Andretti straightaway. You can take a minute here and just let the car come to you. Let everything get ready and slowly drift over to the left side of the track to get ready for the S's. There's that spotter stand on the left. That's where you know you want to get it. Chuck the car in here at full speed. Maybe start to bleed a little bit of throttle out of it. Get it down into 4th gear for the left-hander and then down into 3rd for whites. You don't want to leave it any lower than that as you want to reduce wheel spin as much as possible. Crossing over the start-finish line, then chuck the car in here full speed, full attack through turn 1, and that is a very fast lap around Mosport.
As that was happening, we had a pass for 7th place. Ritters got by Richards as they were having to overtake traffic too. Daniel Barnett trying to stay off to the side, and they went 3 wide into the S's. So the 27 car now up into 7th place, up from 21st on the grid. 14 position gain for him. And now we look at Ridgway once more. Ooh, down to 0.2 of a second as the number 5 AM car of Michael Broomhead continuing to threaten. This is for 2nd and 3rd in that AM class as Kita has dropped the pair of them.
And finally, there's no lap traffic to give the benefit of the draft to Robert Ridgway. A little bit of weaving there from Broomhead as he just tries to line that draft up the best that he can. Looked like he got a good run out of Moss. I don't think he's going to be close enough. Joe, he may have that car tuned down a little bit more aerodynamics in the car, and that's preventing him from really maximizing down the straight.
Yeah, starting to think we're seeing some varying ethos around here as way off goes Robert Ridgway and still doesn't lose the position. That had to have been scary, but he kept a cool head.
Yes, he did. Kept a cool head and a cool right foot as he just kept planted into it. Yeah, there we go. We see Broomhead closing up a little bit. That gap hovering at about 2/3 of a second. Broomhead able to take a narrower line there through Clayton. He's really going to close up here. I think for Michael, he's got to try to make a move down into Moss, and indeed, that's what he's going to do. And Ridgway lets him through.
I wonder if Ridgway knows he's got a good results in his hands and just decided to take the finish. 6th place, still up 1 spot from where he started. Whatever the case, it's a boon for Michael Broomhead, who now finds himself in 5th, up 7 from where he gridded. Coming down to the last few laps, and the lap is so short around here. We're down to 13 drivers that are on the same one as our leader. We take a look back at Richards and Ritters once again, but Ritters not willing to give up the ghost, keeps his foot in it, and Richards has no recourse.
No, he does not. So there you have it as they continue to go along. Very good battle, but Ritter's holding out. Richards looking like he is trying to apply maximum pressure all the way out to the outside, trying to maximize the speed down that plunging left-hander that is Clayton. Little bit of a wider run there coming out of it for Richards, and tighter run there through Quebec.
This is our best battle on the track right now for this 7th spot down the hill. Nobody giving it up this time like we saw before with Ridgway and Broomhead. They're sticking this one out off the corner. Look at how much track Ritter's trying to use, getting all up on those curbs, coming off the turn, trying to stretch away from the 49. He's going to get himself at least out of reach, but Richards will start to feel himself tugged back up to that rear wing as the pocket of air gets him at least within 0.3 of a second. Oh, and is the fight back from Broomhead on? Oh, Ridgway somehow got ahead of him earlier, and now Broomhead retakes the position.
Yes, he does, and there is Ridgway trying to fight back, carry some more speed through turn 1. He may have a little bit of a look here going down into Clayton. He pokes his nose to the outside, but that's not going to do it, but he forced Broomhead onto a little bit more of a narrow line. Is that going to cost him on corner exit? Indeed, a little bit more speed there for Robert Ridgway as they now make their way through Quebec. Ooh, but he falls back a little bit there. I think that theory is true, Joe. I think Broomhead's running a little bit more downforce around here.
Yeah, and Robert managed to get side by side, so he had briefly passed him, but he didn't complete the pass through the S's last time. Let's watch this once again. He's 0.5 of a second back as they come off the corner. Remember that number. I can already see it coming down. It is helped by the slipstream. It's down to 0.3 of a second, and Broomhead knows it, trying to weave a little bit to break that run. Looking around the outside, Ridgway's not giving it up as easily as he did earlier on. Into the braking for 9. He backs out.
Does indeed, and these two have got to be careful here, Joe. Ritters and Richards are only 1.6 seconds back from them as they cross the timing and scoring line. They keep battling like this. This could be a 4-way scrap.
Indeed, and it's the last lap, so if they do start to catch them, oh, is way wide there. That was Ridgway flirting with disaster close to the edge of turn 2. Here is your leader, Stephen Verity, coming up the Andretti straight. The 04 has found himself having to survive a lot of battles up at the front, but while many of those who began up there fell off by the wayside, he survived. He made good strategy. He kept good pace, and he is going to be rewarded here in Canada as the New Yorker has just hopped across the border and taken a win at Mosport.
A great job for Stephen Verity. Good to see him back on the podium once more. Oh, we are side by side. This is Ritters and Richards coming into the last corners.
Inside of Whites is going to go to Richards. Can he get it done, or is he going to get pinched? He's going to get pinched, fighting back. Excellent move from the 27 to claim 7th place with that one. Fun stuff. And the last one to come through is going to be James Holland chasing Brett Barrett, but they're about 1.5 seconds apart. You can see our winner, Stephen Verity, taking his first win of this season and boosting Rust Racing way up the order. That's going to take us to a break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today, we install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget, So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're going to give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much going to be a turnkey. So he's going to press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. We just watched round 5 of the PRL Open Wheel Series, and it was Stephen Verity getting his first win of the season, fighting off a number of challengers in the process. And Alex Fournier winds up second, almost kind of a quiet day for him, and helps him in the points championship for the pro class, as Raymond Day finishes third. Takeshi Kita wins the AM class in fourth, just outside the overall podium, with Michael Broomhead following him home in fifth. Robert Ridgway, what a battle that was between he and Broomhead. He'll get sixth with that, as Stephen Ritters was seventh from 21st, and Christopher Richards finishes P8. Then you've got Nick Horvath in ninth, and Matthew Gunderson finishes 10th.
In 11th, it was Julio Palacio, followed by Brett Barrett, with James Holland and Daniel Barnett behind them. Barnett, the first driver to finish down a lap here. Sean Duhamel was 15th, followed by Tyler Scarali and David A. Bear, who's on a real charge today. A. Bear up 16 positions from his starting spot. Jonathan Almanar came home 18th, and Kenny Brown was 19th, with James Carter rounding out your top 20 3 laps down.
21st today went to Colin Heffernan, but I think he actually finished in pit lane, it looks like, as Johnny Luna was 22nd, Roberto Cofre 23rd, and Joey Tebben somehow gapped back onto the track, finished 13 laps down in 24th. From there on down, it's pretty much all DNFs, sadly, for our drivers. A lot of victims here at this track, which often sees some attrition races. Appears to be the case today, but Verity didn't necessarily need the attrition. I'm sure it helped, though. Our winner certainly survived others wrecking around him, but when it came down to the end of the race, he had the speed himself to fight off any of the other fast drivers. As we talk to the 04 about what it took to be fast here today, because Steven, it looked like there were a lot of guys that had incredible speed around here. How did you manage to fight all of them off?
Hey guys, I don't know. That was quite a race. That was really fun. It was really, I was just trying to, not do anything dumb, don't make any dangerous moves, and then just hit my marks in every corner and just try to really stay focused. And when I ended up in the lead, like halfway through the first, I don't know when it was, I think at the end of the first lap, I wasn't expecting to be there, and I couldn't believe that I was going to have to potentially fight that off for 45 minutes. And it ended up being a lot harder than I expected. So it was really fun. I was really sorry to see Byron go off. I looked at the replay. It looked like there was quite a bit of netcode in that one. And then kudos to Ray as well, who got the undercut on the pit stop. So good strategy. Just a really fun race all around.
It's your first podium since round one, back when we started this season. And since then, it's been a little bit messy for you, unfortunately. Can you finally use this to kind of get things going in the right direction for you?
I sure hope so. It's been an awful week in terms of the official races. This track has not been kind to me. I had a technical problem last week, and then I've been getting to grips with a new rig, which has been a big adjustment for me. So this is my first clean race, I think, since I've switched to new equipment. So I'm really hoping that the rough past few weeks are behind me.
Well, with next week being another track with a short lap, a lot of elevation change and high commitment corners, it sounds like there's some skills that you can carry over to Laguna Seca.
Love Laguna Seca. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to miss next week, but always produces great racing there. A little hard to pass. The passing opportunities are decidedly dangerous there, but great track nonetheless. I look forward to watching it.
Well, we'll be sad not to see you, but again, congratulations on the win. Anybody you want to thank?
For sure. Just want to thank Rust Racing, all the support from those dudes. Thank PRL for putting this league on. Thanks to all the guys at the front for good, fun, clean racing. And thanks to you all for broadcasting. Really appreciate it.
That was Stephen Verity, who won today overall and in the pro class, his first of the season. Up next, I believe we've got our winner in the AM class, Takeshi Kita, who finished 4th overall with DJ.
I have indeed, Takeshi. A really great run for you out there, 6th place, and some good battles out on track. Talk me through it. Takeshi, you got a copy?
Not sure if we'll be able to talk to Takeshi here. We'll try and give him just a little bit to see if he's got his microphone issues sorted out. Takeshi, do you have a copy? Looks like he does not, unfortunately. So we're not going to get to talk to Kita here with his win. But second in the AM class behind him was Michael Broomhead. And DJ, I believe you've got him with you as well.
I have indeed, Michael. 2nd place in AM during a good race here. This has got to feel good for you.
Race, thanks to the boys for a good setup. Horvath had a lot of say in that. We just wanted to run the special livery. I know you mentioned it. It's our home race, like I say. We had Canadiana written on the side of the car, and obviously the plaid, which is a fan favorite. So yeah, happy with the second. Wasn't sure if you're going to interview me, but thankfully, hi. How's it going, guys?
Well, it's good to talk to you. Obviously, that very, very tough battle there with Ridgeway. We thought you had him. Talk me through the mentality on doing that.
Yeah, you know what? I took tires at the stop, and I don't think anybody else did. We were talking about that, and we thought the longevity, the long stint that we were doing on about 6 gallons was worth taking the extra tires. Tiptoe the first few laps. He got past me just outside of the pits there, but I started 4 laps in or so, being able to gain. And I just took it to him, and I did get him at the end. So that was a good battle, though. Oh my goodness, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. And looking ahead, we've got to kind of focus in on what's going to happen next, and that being Laguna Seca. A little bit of an American style track like this. How do you think it'll go?
Well, I hope it goes better. I mean, you guys didn't see it, but the first round of Flying Husky this season, I was awful. I've never been that bad. So hopefully it will be better than that. But I usually go all right there. It'll be another fun track. Hopefully some more good battles with everybody else. So yeah, it'll be good to see.
Well, we are looking forward to seeing you there as well, my friend. Anybody you'd like to thank for this today?
Yeah, of course, the Britannia boys, and Mountain Range Marketing, EliseLight.com, and a new sponsor, Walden International School in Oakville. If anybody wants to send their kids there, that'd be great. Hello to the family and me as well, and thanks.
We are happy to do it. That was Michael Broomhead, your second place finisher there in AM. And now I believe, Joe, you've got Takeshi Kita up and working.
Yeah, looks like we got the mic going. Takeshi, congratulations on the AM win and 4th overall. You are amongst the top 5 in points, so this victory is got to be very encouraging to you on that championship.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, as my teammates were informing me, I got up to 2nd place now. So I'm very, very happy with that.
That's great to hear. It seems like there's been a lot of swapping of those top positions in the AM championship points, because it seems like consistency has been really tough to be up towards the front of that field. Are you noticing that there's certain drivers stronger at certain tracks?
I think for me the issue is the first lap, not to get caught in the first lap incident. Because when I get through the first lap, I always get somewhat good results. But I had the unfortunate 2 races that I got crashed on the first lap, and that was really bad for the points.
It seems like there have been a few melees in there. Today, we also saw that the slipstream seemed to make a pretty big difference on that backstretch. How much do you feel like that was worth?
It was about 0.2 seconds or maybe 3. It was really important to always be behind someone that was faster than you.
So that answers that question, because we certainly saw it play a part in many of the battles today. Congratulations on the victory and its overall top 5. Anybody you want to thank?
As always, to my teammates at Atomic Racing and to my wife.
Great stuff from Takeshi Kita there, as the Atomic Racing driver takes the win in the AM class and closes us out today. Before we give a few thanks to our sponsors for the series as well, which includes ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. And RaceLab, it helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. As well as ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. And SIMMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out our Bandcamp for more great work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Gary, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. The next race, as we mentioned, will be at Laguna Seca, Thursday, October 28th at 8:45 p.m. Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.